have made a little initial list of topics to discuss in future videos. I'll talk about communism in this video today, but some of the other topics are how to prevent abuse of power. On the pdrboston.org website, the page devoted to that seems to be the most viewed page of all. So I know it's of concern to a lot of people. Another topic is the issue of private property. Do people have private property in an egalitarian society? The short answer is yes, but there needs to be some discussion of that. Is there such a thing as an egalitarian Bill of Rights? And that requires some discussion too. The short answer is I have a proposal for an egalitarian Bill of Rights. Of course, every local assembly of egalitarians would decide on its own whether they want to have such a Bill of Rights or not, but there's one that I would vote for. This is a funny topic maybe because it's very specific, but it's an example of very specific topics that need to be discussed to see how egalitarianism relates to them. So the title of this topic I've chosen is Squatting is Legal. Well, it's illegal today, but in an egalitarian society it would be legal. And the question is, why is that, and how would that fit in and relate to the rest of society? Stay tuned. Healthcare. Healthcare is extremely topical now because Senator Warren has sort of broken ranks with mainstream politicians in advocating single-payer healthcare. It's not as if no politician ever advocated it before. President Obama, before he was president, when he was just a Chicago or an Illinois congressman, I think that was his status. He famously, at least famously among people who are paying attention, famously said that single payer was the only rational way to have healthcare in the United States. And he said, but of course it would require having someone supporting it from the Oval Office. And then when he got himself into the Oval Office, he totally opposed single payer. He even had people arrested who were during the Senate hearings on his health care bill tried to interject the idea of single payer, and they were hauled out and arrested. He totally ignored single payer as an idea that should be even considered. So the whole idea of how healthcare should be handled in an egalitarian society is worthy of a video, and I'll make one down the road. Here's another topic you might find surprising, but I think it's worthy of a video, and that's prostitution. I was at an international AIDS conference as one of the participating scientists a few years ago. Well, time flies, I forget the year, I think it was around 2012 or so. And one of the big themes from the organizers and the main speakers at the conference, which included Hillary Clinton, was that prostitutes should be referred to as sex workers, and that prostitution should be normalized as just another occupation, like being a carpenter or a hairdresser or an electrician and so forth. And I went around talking to, I guess what you call rank and file people at the conference about why I thought that was like normalizing slavery, because prostitutes are, the vast majority in the world are forced into it by economic coercion. They do it in order to survive, no other reason. Mainly they're ashamed of it. They try to keep it a secret from their children and so forth, and that the economic inequality, the class inequality in our world that forces people into prostitution is a terrible injustice that we should oppose. and we shouldn't normalize it and treat it as if it was okay by saying that the victims of this injustice, they're just, doing an occupation like anybody else. So, but that raises the question: well, what about prostitution, or in that general topic in an egalitarian society? How would that be dealt with? Stay tuned. Another question is this whole issue of freeloaders. How does it relate to the egalitarian society? This problem that some people, they don't want to contribute according to reasonable ability. They want to take but not give. So what do we do about that? And that issue relates to things like the slogan that you hear a lot: "Healthcare is the right of all." Well, is it the right of a freeloader? That's an important question to consider. Universal basic income is one of those ideas that's being pushed a lot by pundits, and maybe it will soon be as big a controversy as same-sex marriage became, or illegal immigration is now, or Muslim refugee immigration. The idea of universal basic income is that the government sends a substantial check, enough to merit the being called a basic income, to everybody, no matter what, and including a person who's an outright flagrant freeloader, who doesn't have any intention to contribute whatsoever, even though he or she is perfectly healthy and fit and has no family obligations that prevent making a contribution to the economy and so forth. The only time the public's been able to vote on this, as opposed to legislators doing things around the idea in different countries, was recently in Switzerland, where the universal basic income was on a referendum, and the opposition to it said it would turn Switzerland into a magnet for freeloaders from all over Europe, which is a pretty logical statement. And it was voted down by, I think the number was 73%, I think, maybe 77%, I forget, it was in the 70%, voted it down. Well, that's worthy of a video, which I intend to make.